Hello, everyone, and welcome to the field. Welcome to the field. We're doing a free Emergent Constellations preview today, and 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 I'm just so excited that you're here to do this with me. Um, I'm just going to take a moment and look at who's here so that I can enjoy your presence and your faces. So wonderful to see old friends, wonderful to see new friends. Thank you for being here. What a pleasure. Okay. So, my general plan is that I have a slide deck that we'll go through that'll talk to us about what constellations are. And we'll do little demos and we'll do little two-person breakouts where you begin to learn a little bit about the what's happening, feel what's happening in the brain and the field when you begin to step into constellation work. And then at the very end, we'll do a short, large group constellation, so you'll get a sense of that as well. So hopefully this will be engaging enough to carry you through. Um, and uh, and I'd like to introduce you to Jaya, who is our space holder, community holder, Zoom tech. Jaya, would you like to say hello before and tell people what you do before?
Hey everyone, welcome. It's good to have you here. During today's program, I suppose, there will be some breakouts, as Sarah mentioned. We encourage you to give things a try if you feel willing. If you're not willing or available, you may be tuning in as you transition. Please put an equal sign, rename yourself and put an equal sign if you're not sure how to do that. I'll put something in the chat about that, but you can also just put an equals in the chat, and either myself or Gaia3 will rename you. I also have a one there, but I'm not sure we actually have enough assistants, so I'll take that off. So just do an equal sign if you're not available, and otherwise you'll be in a group with one other person, and I'll
That's
change my instructions there. And if you
very
have any other requests, send them my way. I'm very happy to do my best.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Jaya. So here we are on November 22nd of 2025. There are so many difficult things happening in the world, and I am just delighted that we're in the middle of something that may be much sweeter than the many of the other things that have captured my attention this morning. So I want to invite us into a space kind of that's a little deeper than the space that we usually go into. Um, because constellations always take us into a space that's a little deeper. Um, I live on land that was taken by false treaty by the U.S. government from the Chinook Nation. So I make contributions to the Chinook Nation in acknowledgement of working on land that they received no benefit from the complete loss of these resources. Um, mm, in here, we won't worry because this is such a short presentation. So let's begin with what are family constellations? And then we'll start with what are family constellations, and then we'll start talking about what makes emergent constellations a little different than family constellations. Family constellations are a form of healing and exploration developed by Bert Hellinger. And Bert Hellinger was a German who was influenced both by, well, not just both, but from many directions. He was influenced by being a Lutheran pastor. I believe he was Lutheran. And a Christian religious person. Um, he served in mission in Africa and became very interwoven with and connected with the Zulu tribe in Africa, and Zulu people in Africa. And um, he learned a lot about ancestors from that experience, and so he brought together a deep spirituality that he had as a result of his life mission. He brought together the learning that he had had about the ancestors from the Zulu people, and he also brought in um, a whole wave of exploration of family dynamics that was happening in the second half of the 20th century in Europe and in the US with Virginia Satir and others who were trying to create ways to explore not just the one-to-one relationship of therapy, but the way that an individual is part of a larger system. Here's a wonderful quote from Bird. It says, "The greater soul moves in only one direction, and that is to bring into union that which has been made separate." Um, yeah. And and there are many implications of this one sentence. I say it and it sort of falls into me like a depth charge that then begins to radiate out. And what the general theory of family constellations is that there's a force that's always calling for integration. And we live in a world, perhaps with that initial experience of the Big Bang creating us all, so there's an explosive force that throws everything apart, trauma and so on. And then there's this inexorable movement towards reunion and communion and healing, and not just healing, but a sort of an impersonal drive for pieces to come together, no matter what it costs all of us for them to come together. It's a very interesting, complex world that we're beginning to dive into. And the theory is systems are at their most complex and beautiful when every element in the system is both linked with and differentiated from every other element. Systems, families, churches, schools, communities, countries run into problems when elements are stuck, immobile, fused, or excluded. So people are systems, families are systems, brains are systems, communities are systems, countries are systems, ecosystems are systems, our planet is a system. I'd like to do a short demo to give you a sense of what the beginning of a constellation sounds like when we're beginning to look for what kinds of things are excluded. So remember that in our list of what causes problems, what brings people to want a constellation is that there is something for them that is stuck. Here's the slide. Share. There we go. People run into problems when elements of their system are stuck, immobile, fused, or excluded. So one of the first things that we're thinking about with each of the problems that each of us brings is, what the heck is what's going wrong? Why is it that I can't make money? Why is it that I can't find love? Why am I never able to forgive my mother? Why? What is it about the life that I've lived that leaves me completely with a sense that spirit and meaning are missing, and I would like to have a relationship with spirit? All of these kinds of things, from the very most prosaic and quotidian to the kind of at the level of the divine, all of these things are the kinds of questions that people will bring to constellation work. So I'd love to do just a kind of a sample demo of um, what an interview, a very short interview with a client would sound like. and tell you about what I'm thinking and what I'm looking for. And then we will just place representatives. So I'm just going to ask Gayatri. Gayatri, are you willing to be my client for this very short demo of finding what are we looking for? What is it in the system that might be stuck, immobile, fused, or excluded? So you can bring anything. You can speak about any issue. Please, what do you have for us today?
Let's see. Hmm. I think one of the things I'm struggling with whenever, um, so there was like someone who came to help chop the banana trees this morning in the garden to get the harvest banana stem and banana flower. And I get very vigilant when someone needs to come work in the garden because they don't understand my permaculture, wilderness style gardening. They start cutting down wild weeds and being like, why are you growing this? No one can eat this. And so I think it's hard for people to understand, the garden helper to understand, the family to understand, lots of people except me, maybe. And it's hard for me to communicate it, like in a way that's not
So you're looking for,
charged.
you have a sense that there's a charge beyond what's needed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I want to acknowledge that, you are the steward and guardian of this little bit of
Hmm.
wild moving land.
True.
Um,
And I need people to help me. So
uh,
I
to
would
be able
like to be
to,
able to accept support without,
without
I don't know,
alienating.
bringing all of this.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So I'm going to, so now what I want to do as a facilitator is I want to make sure I've got a little bit of sort of cognitive understanding, but I want to make sure that I have a more deeply attuned understanding where my body as a facilitator is a part of this question. So I need to find Gayatri. We're in a room. We're in a Zoom room with many people right now, with almost 200 people, and my body is drawn to everybody's body, but I want my body to find Gayatri in this large room. And so I stop and I just make Gayatri my focus. And initially, when I make people my focus, and this will happen for you too, as you do this many, many times, there's a joyful a delight that this person exists. So I have to ride through that because joyful delight will not get me to where Gayatri is going with this. So I wait, and then as I make her my focus, I can feel kind of constrictions and movements and things that I wasn't feeling before I focused on her. And that lets me know, aha, my body has found Gayatri. So now I'm looking for this question: what might be stuck, immobile, fused, or excluded? And so what I'd like to do, and I'll just have Gayatri choose folks because then we'll know that they'll be able to come in easily as reps. I want you to choose a rep for Gayatri, and I want you to choose a rep for the the wild spirit of your garden, and a rep for the helper.
Okay. Deborah Hunsinger, would you be willing to rep me? And the wild spirit of my garden. Um, is Amy Q here? Are you willing, Amy Q? My garden helper?
Yeah.
Irvine, would you be willing to? Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Yes. Ugh.
okay. So now this is where the fun begins. I mean, I'm being it's deeply serious as well, of course, but there's a magical thing that happens at the beginning of a constellation, um, where where we get to find out what's happening in people's bodies. And what's so interesting about constellation work is that the information that bodies give us is what moves the constellation. It's a very different fuel than um, than our usual fuel for finding our way through difficult problems. So we won't go far here. We'll just catch these initial body sensations. Rep for Gayatri, what happens for you when you enter? Body sensations, please.
I feel wetness in my hands and my heart is going fast.
Ah, thank you. Helper, what do you notice?
I'm gritting my teeth a little bit. And I also have some tears behind my eyes and some tension in my upper arms.
Thank you. Wild spirit of the garden, what do you notice?
I have some tension around my chest, upper chest, and my vision is not clear. Have some dizziness also.
Oh, thank you. So this is our starting point. And now, as the facilitator, I'm asking myself, what might be stuck? What might be immobile? What might be fused? What might be excluded? And so, if I ask myself those four questions, and then as I proceed, I would be kind of spiraling with these questions, stuck might be a contract that Gayatri has to believe that she is the only one who could understand the wild spirit of the garden. Immobile might be um, a mourning, a deep frozen mourning in Gayatri's body about the state of the world and about the harm that humanity is doing to the world. Fused might be. It's very interesting that the garden is a little dizzy and can't see well. So I'm wondering what the garden might be fused with. I don't know yet, but that's a question that I have. And then excluded is a very interesting question. And here the exclusion might be something like an ancestor. There might be relationships that Gayatri's ancestors have had with the land that need to be brought in and acknowledged. And I actually get goosebumps when I say that. So as the facilitator, I'm thinking, oh, I want to explore there. And so this is we've begun, and I hope you can feel how juicy this is, and how it's quite different from the usual way that we address problems, because it's got a kind of a foundational starting point of not knowing and of an openness to strange magic in a way entering. Yeah. So Gayatri, I'll let you release your reps. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I release all of you from your roles. I take what is mine and only give you what is yours.
Thank you. And in a normal circumstance, we would take time for each person to share the gift that they received and the need that was met for them. But we won't do that today because I want to keep us going. Thank you, all of you beautiful people. I'm so grateful. It brings tears to my eyes to have you here with us. So, if you have any questions, we won't be taking questions during the presentation. You put them in the chat, and if it's something about understanding, then I'll be able to come to it, but I won't be able to come to a lot of questions today. So I'm going to go back to the slides. So what you just saw was a short demo of finding what's excluded, stuck, frozen. Yeah. And I had renamed each of the reps. So people who are the reps, please rename yourself with your real name. And Suzanne says, what is the difference between stuck, immobile, fused, etc.? It's just like a way of letting us think about the move. Okay, I think this is a way to talk about it. A system, any system, our internal world, the world that we're in relationship with, our world of our family, is like a mobile. You remember those mobiles that had different weights that were hanging on strings from different bars and they would move? Then they're supposed to move. But then sometimes things that aren't supposed to be tangled get tangled. So that would be fused. They would be tangled together. And stuck would be that something up at the top where the mobile is supposed to be turning stopped turning, for example. Something stopped moving. And immobile might be that time has stopped and the whole mobile is not working. And stop immobile, fused, entangled. There can be many different words, but they're just words that let us know that the system is not working as it should. So I hope that was helpful, Suzanne. Blocked also, yes. Blocked gives you a different image, doesn't it? Of something sticking something from outside, sticking its arm up and stopping the mobile from moving. So I'll share my slides again. What are emergent constellations? Emergent constellations take the forms and structures of family constellations. We've just been looking at family constellations, and apply them to every level of human functioning, from intrapersonal to family to systemic. Emergent constellations are different from family constellations in that we're leveraging what we know about brains and trauma from the research of relational neuroscience to target the transformation of implicit knowing into explicit knowing. Emergent constellations embrace what is naturally arising in the constellation space, not just for the client and the facilitator, but for the representatives, integrating a deep respect for and enjoyment of every voice. The work of the constellation happens simultaneously for everyone in the space, including the witnesses, a convergence of everyone's continuously running constellations. So what I want to say here about a convergence of continually running constellations is that if each of you close your eyes in this moment and imagine your mom, your dad, your adoptive mom, your stepfather, your brothers and sisters, your blended family brothers and sisters, your Hana family brothers and sisters, your best friends, the people that you take care of with so much love and grace and longing and tornness. And do you feel how this football field around you is beginning to be populated by people? If you check in with this football field regularly, you would start to notice that your mom is often in the very same place, that your dad is often in the very same place, that your siblings are in the very same place. We humans are immensely devoted to the use of metaphor to make sense of our world. And one of the metaphors that we use without knowing it is a convergence of the emotional closeness or distance of people and the physical closeness or distance of people. Our hippocampus, each of us have two hippocampuses. One is in your left hemisphere, one is in your right hemisphere. The one in your right hemisphere tracks family and friend and personal and social and world relationships by actually tracking a sense of both how far people are from us and whether or not they're turned toward us, whether their body is turned toward us, whether their heads are turned toward us, where their eye gaze is. We have an immense metaphorical structure within us that is spatial about relationships that constellations access. It's quite extraordinary. Okay. Constellation facilitators hold space on a continuum from emergent, where they're paying a lot of attention to what's happening in the field and what's happening with the bodies of the reps, to directive, where they're really, in a way, you can feel them moving the constellation within them and telling people to move from place to place to show in space what's happening within the facilitator's body and brain based on their immense experience of constellations. both emergent constellations and directive constellations can be enormously life-changing. Your preference depends on who you've met and what they've done, and also depends on your own soul's love of freedom versus clarity, and what kind of support works best for you. So family constellations are just as fabulous. Directive family constellations are just as fabulous as emergent constellations. My soul particularly loves community and autonomy, and being heard. So I really love it when a facilitator has an emergent constellation bent to their work, and that's what I do, and that's what I teach, because I love it so much. But I've had absolutely life transformative directive constellations. At the directive end of the continuum, the constellation happens in the facilitator's inner system, and the facilitator directs the reps to move to show what they are sensing within. At the emergent end of the continuum, the facilitator is working with what's coming into the field through all the bodies, reps, client, facilitator. So I'm going to do a short demo of attuning to the client, and then you're actually going to begin to feel into what is happening for the facilitator. Okay. Okay. And we're just going to touch that first part, the first wonderful part where you open to the possibility that this other person that you're randomly going to be placed into a breakout room with is a person that if you were a constellation facilitator, you would be able to experience delight in their existence. So we're going to touch that first place that I talked about when I was attuning to Gayatri, where I was like, first you might notice that there's this kind of radiant joy. And that's not the place where we work, but it's good to begin to recognize it. You may also, first, before the radiant joy, you may experience absolute terror because you have had experiences with humans that are difficult. So if you know that you've had really difficult experiences with humans, and today you just want to be listening and not doing this part, then just put a little equal sign in front of your name, and Jaya will keep you out of the breakout room today. But I'd like to do this. And Marilyn, are you available to be my demo buddy for this little piece here?
Yes, Sarah.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm thinking about all of you. I'm thinking about us. I'm thinking about what the heck are we doing here? I'm thinking, how am I being clear? So there's like all kinds of moving parts in my body that you can hear in my voice, the excitement, the worry, the love, the tornness, the shame and shyness. It's all there in my voice. So that all is happening in my body. That doesn't let me focus on Marilyn. So I take a moment, and it often helps if you put your eyes on the person that you're focusing on. That your eyes are a symbol for your brain of where you want your attention to go. So if I bring my attention to Marilyn, then I get the first thing I get, because I've been doing this enough that I don't have to deal with the terror part, which I used to have. But I get like a sensation of little frogs hopping along my collarbone. Little frogs of delight hopping along my collarbone. Marilyn, how is it to have someone be changed by you?
It's sweet and astonishing.
Wonderful. And then the next thing that we're going to do is to begin to, there's another step that we'll do before we drop into the place where we work, which is where we begin to feel deeper stuff. So we have one more step that I will also do with Marilyn after, and that you will also get to do now when we put you into breakout.
Well, I wish I thought of that one.
and so then in the breakout, if Marilyn and I were in the breakout, we would switch, and Marilyn would get to do this and find the place where she would get to say, "Oh, terror! I'm with the terror for a little moment here. Let me breathe through that. Okay, now I've found the welcome." You're looking for places where your body softens, becomes warmer, has a sensation of rising, or if you get some sort of image. I often get these images of little animals moving, like the frogs hopping. So you speak aloud about what happens for you, and the other person gets to experience being met in this way. And then, and then we'd reverse, and then at the end we'd say, thank you, Marilyn. I'm so grateful. Thank you for doing this with me. Okay, and now we'll check with Jaya and find out how are we doing with breakout rooms, Jaya.
We're almost ready for breakout rooms. If you have an equal sign in front of your name, you'll be sent to just a one room with lots of people who are in a quiet space. So please be mindful if you're in that room that it's just a space for people to have cameras off or journal. You're welcome not to go if you prefer, of course, but there won't be anything happening here. And I'm just catching things. I'll open up rooms, and it is very likely that some people will not actually click to go in. And so if you find yourself alone, know that I will reshuffle things and make sure that you're not alone for long, that it may take a little bit of time. So Sarah, in light of that, I would love to have like 2 minutes of cushion time for people. So that
exactly. Yeah, before we even begin. Yeah.
So how long would you like to have it? And then just add a minute or two to it, please.
Yeah. Do you want to? I was thinking like 8 minutes. So do you want to do 10?
No, 8 minutes sounds good.
Okay.
I feel like that's enough time.
Okay.
All right. I'm just scrolling through.
And then Jordan had a note that she's on her phone. She or they or he are on their phone and don't have a camera. Will that still work for a breakout room? They say. And we could put Jordan with someone experienced if that's possible.
It may be. Hold on, let me find Jordan.
Darby, did you get to see the demo that I just did with Marilyn?
I didn't. I couldn't arrive sooner.
Okay.
I was just reading the instructions, and it looks pretty clear, but it's
quite clear. If you feel comfortable, then we'll just go ahead with that.
Yeah, I'd like to. Thank you.
Okay, great. Instructions are in the chat. Go ahead and open rooms. I think things are in decent shape, but as I said, some folks just inevitably in a group this size will end up with some things moving around. So go ahead and open things. I'm going to go and do 9 minutes, Sarah, just to
perfect.
give people some wiggle room. All right, opening up rooms, and we'll see you in a little while. And Sarah, you'll be on mute. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, so we got to begin to touch. If you have a question, put it in the chat. I won't be calling on people with their hands up until the very end of the presentation. I wanted to just name, that we came in and there was the experience of trying to find the place of welcome, the place of warming or rising. Now, there's a whole neuroscience background of why it's important for us as constellation facilitators to actually have a liking for our clients, to actually enjoy them and to notice them. And people are asking for a little more time. We'll be sending you back into the same breakout, and we'll put another 2 minutes on the timing for the next breakout. And Celine, I notice your hand is open, but I'm not taking hand up questions right now. You have to put things into the chat. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to think about not just the rising and the welcome, which definitely puts us into the right hemisphere, which is where we want to be for deep intuition and connection, and for that strange magic that enters constellation space. Instead, what can happen is that we begin to think about what we're supposed to do, what we have to do as a constellation facilitator. How am I going to help my person? And all of a sudden, our person can become a task rather than a semi-infinite system that is full of wonder, that has gotten stuck or stopped somehow. And what happens if we stand beside them in their stuck or stoppedness? And what happens if we begin to wonder about what's stuck or stopped, rather than seeing our person as a task? So I'll give you a little bit of the neuroscience of this, and then we'll go in and try this next way of changing our perception out. So what we shift when we do constellations is the way we pay attention to the world. These guys are two of my favorite thinkers about the brain and neuroscience. They both have written huge books about the left and right hemispheres and the neuroscience of what's called brain lateralization. And what both of them say is that our right hemispheres are structured by our relationships, and they change our brains. They each do everything. They don't want, we don't just do math with our left hemisphere and art with our right hemisphere. No, they contribute completely to one another in whatever task we're doing, but they see the world very differently. The left hemisphere has little neurons that only touch each other, only touch their neighbors, so there's not vast communication happening. And the right hemisphere is more like these ribbon dancers with these neurons that reach all the way across the whole right hemisphere. The right hemisphere weighs more than the left hemisphere. The instrumental brain, the left hemisphere, largely the rest left hemisphere, does not change the relational brain. It tries to explain the relational brain. It justifies the relational brain. It blames the relational brain. But because of the structure of left hemisphere neurons, it doesn't create deep neural change. The relational brain creates deep neural change. What this means is that we cannot change brains by thinking. We can only change brains by feeling. So just for a moment, you can do this before we go into the breakout room. You can do this with the whole Zoom screen, put the Zoom screen on gallery view, and you can look at these people. Now look at these people and say, okay, if I were in the same room with them, which of them would I ask about a pencil? I want to borrow a pencil. Who will loan me a pencil? And see what happens with your breathing. See what happens with what your face feels like. See what happens with your eyes. And now close your eyes. Kind of shake it off a little bit. Now, Sarah keeps saying that people are semi-infinite systems. What does that mean? It means 87 billion neurons in these brains, in each of these funny little Zoom screens. You can open your eyes and look at these folks here who are semi-infinite systems, hundreds of trillions of neural connections, thousands of trillions of neural connections. Everybody's an almost infinite system. We're so complicated. There's so much. We're not just one little dot. We are 87 billion interconnected dots. And see what happens as you look at the gallery view and as you look at people, and what happens with your breathing, what happens with your body, what happens with your belly, what happens with your face. So this is a really cool thing to know, is that we as constellation facilitators are going to be continually drawn gravitationally into thinking of our clients as tasks. But in fact, they are semi-infinite systems and not tasks at all. They are mysteries and wonders. There's a fellow named Martin Buber. This is Martin Buber. What a face. Oh, I love Martin Buber. Martin Buber was a philosopher in the early part of the 20th century who wrote about it versus thou. In Martin Buber's philosophy, a Buber object refers to an it, a person or thing that is perceived as an object, treated instrumentally, and not fully acknowledged as a unique being, while a Buber subject refers to a thou, a person encountered in a direct, fully present, and meaningful relationship where both individuals are recognized as whole subjects rather than objects. Essentially, the object is a detached utilitarian view, while the subject is a deeply personal, connected encounter. Ha. It's sort of the difference between a constellation that feels like it's lifting off the earth, a deeply personal, connected encounter where we feel deeply known, and the experience of like nuts and bolts being screwed together. So in emergent constellations, everybody's a thou. Client, representatives, witnesses, even facilitators are thous. Martin Buber writes, when we encounter another individual truly as a person, not as an object for use, we become fully human. So now I'll bring Marilyn back and we'll do this shifting between it and thou, between seeing our person as an it versus seeing our person as a thou. So, I'll go to my speaker view. Come on, little mouse, let me go up there. There we go. Okay. Hello, Marilyn.
Hello, Sarah.
So the very first thing that I get to do is to look at my client as a task, as a riddle, someone to be fixed or helped. And I'm going to notice my body sensations in my torso, throat, and face. And Marilyn's going to notice what it's like to be looked at in this way. Okay. So I'm barely breathing. And I'm trying to figure something out. It's like click, 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 click inside of me. And Marilyn, what's it like for you to be seen in this way?
I too noticed that I was barely breathing and just a systemic sense of contraction in my body toward finding safety.
Ah, yeah. So now I get to do it differently. We can shake that off. And now I find my own body sensations within my torso, throat, and face. So I'm still barely breathing. I still have that kind of residue. And then I attune to my client and welcome. And my shoulders immediately start to relax. And I'm remembering those little frogs jumping along my collarbones. And I'm thinking about Marilyn as a thou. And as I do that, my belly also begins to relax. How is it to be welcomed as a thou, Marilyn?
Confession, even when I knew this is where we were going next, I started having tears
Oh,
before you even started.
oh.
And then when you use the word vow, thou, Martin Buber, I got a deep breath.
Wonderful. Okay. This time we'll put you in for 11 minutes. So there's 10 minutes where you get a little bit of time to catch up on that last piece if you want to. And then you get to go more deeply into this sense of the thou. And really what we're doing here is starting to allow ourselves to notice the difference between how we usually see people. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm walking around seeing most people as it's initially, because I'm like, okay, what needs to get done? If the dog's been fed, do you need new shoes? I mean, it's like a whole list of things that are the to-do lists that come. And so so you'll begin to notice the difference between being perceived as an it and being perceived as a thou, and the difference between holding an attention on an it and holding an attention on a thou. And Jaya, tell me where you are with the breakout rooms.
We're good.
Wonderful.
Again, as last time, there's some people who've just joined, so I'm going to go ahead and just open up as they are, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Okay, and for the folks that I was in a breakout room with, I'll be with you in maybe 3 minutes.
Oh,
If that was no,
that group seemed to have shifted, and so
good. Perfect.
yes, hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah. And if you get in and feel a lot of terror, then press the call for help button, and we'll see what we can do. And we don't have barely anybody, but I'll be able to and acknowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want you to not be alone during the normal programming. Just so folks know, we have abundant amount of assistance. We just don't have a lot during this particular program, so we're hoping that you'll still be able to go in and see what you learn, and know that you're among many people who are just learning this for the first time and trying it out.
That's right.
All right, are we ready, Sarah?
We're ready.
All right, instructions are in the chat. You just have to scroll up very slightly.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to talk about how, oh, Emma, you were alone. Shoot, I'm so sad.
I found somebody got moved into my room.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. In constellation work, we listen to the client's question, wondering where the system is immobile or fused. And then we begin to populate the system with elements, and we can use people to represent the elements, as you saw with Gayatri and the garden this morning. We had a person representing the spirit of the garden. You can use objects in one-on-one work. You can do the same kind of work that we were beginning to do with Gayatri, but use little figures or dolls or objects, and to begin to feel into this sense of the different elements of the system. We can also use drawings online, and we can also use drawings online, period. Now we're going to talk about participating as a representative in constellations. Gul, I'm not taking raised hands. If you could put your question or comment into the chat, that would help me enormously. Okay. So when we think about being a representative in a constellation, what does that mean, a representative? That means that, for example, when some of you arrived later, but for those of you who were here this morning, we started to populate Gayatri's constellation with different elements, with different people representing different things in Gayatri's constellation. And so those people are representatives. When we represent, we become an element in the system of the constellation. If the facilitator has the sense that the client's question is a brain question, then the facilitator might invite us to become representatives for the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex. We might all of a sudden be like somebody's brain part. Or if it's a family, we might suddenly be asked to be somebody's mother or brother or father or sister. If the client's question is a family question, we might be placed as a representative for the client or for their mother. Businesses are a system. People do business constellations with different people being the human resources department, the sales department. So if a client's question is a business question, we might be placed as a representative for the CEO or for the organization. And our societies are systems. I'm sorry for the blurriness of this slide, but we've got all kinds of systemic elements in a society. And if a client's question involved big societal concepts, we might be placed as a representative for the client or for poverty So let me just do this actually with my mouse working so badly, I won't draw. We won't do this one. I don't have a mouse that works. So people worry about representing in constellations. Will I do it right? Will I make a mistake? Will I be shamed? Will I be ignored? Will I serve the client? Will I make it about myself? What if I don't feel anything? Is there anybody else who has another thing that they've worried about with being a representative in constellations that you'd like to put into the chat? And Jaya, I've lost my mouse. Would you be willing to tell me what people are putting into the chat?
Sure. So far, nothing yet. Emily says long-term effects of playing a role. Lynette, will I trigger the client? Catherine, am I just making this up? Stacy, that my left hemisphere will take over completely. Marilyn, will I cause harm? And Lorna's wondering what the question is. What are the worries that come up for you? Yes?
Yes, if you have been in a constellation as a rep, because if you've never been in a constellation as a rep, you might not have any worries.
Kobe says, will I make up projections? It's her worry. Joanne says that my own feelings will get in the way of feeling what the client is feeling and that I may not be accurate. Lindsay writes that a representative will be on the receiving end of violence or abuse while in a constellation. Oh. Natalia, that I will bring my own things into the constellation.
So I just want to acknowledge and and MJ added something, it looks like.
And MJ, there's a couple more. Jean says that I will not feel anything, that I'll get it wrong. Jen says, what if the facilitator is wanting me to feel something else and thinks I'm directing it? MJ says, from someone else that was missed, I was curious with you. Oh, there's a question. Okay. Some people are wondering, if I'm not a facilitator, am I allowed to be here? Just as a general question for this. And of course, you're very, very welcome to be in these constellation offerings.
And what we're talking about right now, I think the reason I use the facilitator as a starting point is just to begin to give you a sense of what like the inner workings of constellations. You don't ever have to be a facilitator, but if you have a sense of the inner workings, then there's such a lovely possibility to begin to sense what constellations are like. So I love what I love about all of our worries about being a constellation representative is how deeply we care about the client and about the integrity of the process. And of course, we would worry, especially initially, with everything that's going on. We would worry that we wouldn't be enough, and we bring, of course, our own worries in our daily lives that we're not enough or we're not doing things right, and we bring those with us to our constellation representation. And then there's a whole other class of worries that have also been named of like, will I get overwhelmed? Will it be too much for me? And those are, of course, really important worries also. And they speak to us about the ways that when we were little tiny beings, we were in systems where the emotions were too much for us. And we get to say, it's true, when I was little, it was too much for me. And we get to the work of constellations begins to give us resilience and confidence. And part of the confidence comes from an understanding that at any given time, right now we've got 180 close to 190 people on the call. At any given time, all of our constellations are superimposed. It's an incredibly complex constellation that we're creating right now. We're creating as we focus on, like, not just on me, because if you're just focusing on me and you, then it's our constellations together. But if we're focusing on, oh my God, 188 people, then all of a sudden there's this incredible complexity of all of our worlds coming together. But what we start to understand is that what comes for you from your own life in your representation is both true for both the client and you. Your representing from your life is where your constellation converges with the client's constellation. It's not an either or proposition being a representative. It's a both and. You are both fully yourself and you're being informed about something universally human as you step into being a grandmother or a grandfather or a child or even a companion animal. All kinds of amazing things happen that expand us. And somebody just sent me a private message saying, does this process recoup the feeling of belonging? And in my experience, it absolutely does. It absolutely begins to change us in our experience of knowing that we belong to one another, and we belong to the universality of being human. So that's a starting point to begin to address worries about constellations and being representatives in constellations. Please know that when you're asked to be a constellation, when you're asked to be a constellation representative, that you always get to say no. And when we're in the smaller groups, we'll say, turn your cameras off if you're not available. And you still get to be there and be a part of the group, but you know that you don't have to be with a constellation facilitator. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there, and that was a completely nonsensical sentence. So somebody just said, could we have a 5-minute break? Yes, we can have a 5-minute break. Have a wonderful 5-minute break, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. So I'll come back to the slides and they'll orient us back into an exploration of being a rep, what it's like to be a rep in somebody's constellation. I think we need actually, let's see, 10:26. I think we need another small demo so that folks can begin to kind of track and feel a little bit about what happens in constellations. And once again, we'll just start it out, and I'll just take you into the ways in which what we've been learning are showing up in our exploration. And Colleen, are you willing to have a little issue for me so that I can do a little tiny partial piece for you? Thank you. Colleen Tootle, Jaya, that's all right. So Colleen, so first of all, let me just be really explicit about the attunement process. So when I said, okay, Colleen, I was still in it. I was still in, Colleen is going to help me. We have a mission. Colleen is going to help me. We are instrumental together. And so I'll take a moment to attune, to feel my delight in Colleen's existence, which lets me know that my right hemisphere is online. And then to go just a little deeper, to begin to attune a little deeper. She hasn't told me so for me, for the delight was a movement here, little tiny tears in my eyes, a movement here, and then a kind of a clearing in my body. And then as I began to attune more deeply, little bits of constriction and tension through my torso, which let me know I'm attuning more deeply to Colleen now. And Colleen, what is the issue we can do a tiny bit of work with?
Thank you, Sarah. My husband is at home in hospice care, and I feel torn between wanting to be with him every minute that I can possibly wring out of this time, and a part of me really wants to get on with my life and not be just focused on caregiving.
Oh. So now what we'll do is we're going to acknowledge this tornness. And to acknowledge the tornness, we'll have Colleen choose somebody as a rep for herself and somebody as a rep for her. Actually, I love this, my life. We're going to have you choose a representative for Colleen's life.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Colleen as caregiver. And then just to be really explicit, since we're not going to move far, we're going to put in the tornness. So you'll be choosing 3 representatives, Colleen.
Okay.
Choose, if you'll choose, do you know 3 people on the call? Then
yeah,
choose.
I just have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would Gayatri be willing to be my tornness? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get that off.
What do you need? Oh, thank you, Jaya.
Sorry. Okay, and for myself, would
Your life. We're going to have it be your life.
my life. Would Anne Craig be willing to be my life?
Oh, Anne Craig. Oh my God.
Betcha. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. And what was the other position?
You as caregiver. Colleen as caregiver.
Charisse, would you be a caregiver?
Thank you so much, Charisse. So now we have the start of a constellation. And the question is in a way, what needs to be named or held or unstuck or included that has not been included, that we will begin to explore. That's what I hold as a facilitator. Now, our reps have a whole different thing that they're holding. They focus on Colleen and they receive from her a direction about where to place their attention. Gayatri has been asked to place her attention on the tornness. Anne has been asked to place her attention on Colleen's life. And Charisse has been asked to place her attention on Colleen as caregiver. So all of a sudden, for Colleen, she is not having to do the work of holding all these 3 things that have some sort of sense of conflict or of stuckness. And so we'll hear the body sensations of these 3. We won't go much farther, but I wanted to, again, give you a sense of the way that constellations begin to open a question up. And let me start with Colleen as caregiver. Charisse, how is your body when you tune into this?
I feel heavy. I feel distant. And like my center is a little concave. And my hands are a bit sweaty.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you. And Colleen's life, and what happens with the body sensations as you step into this?
I feel a sense of curiosity and wonder, excitement in my body, kind of like a bubbling up, like what's next? Kind of, yeah, wondering.
Mm. Wow, that's fun to be in contact with. Thank you. And tornness, what happens for you?
I actually have like physical pain, like my left elbow is hurt so much, it's hard. It feels like it's almost like an open wound or something. Something about it feels raw. When caregivers spoke, I could feel tension in my shoulders and just like a heaviness and like pulsing, like my almost like my skull hurt. And with Colleen's live speaking, I just feel sad. There are tears in my eyes. I just kind of like, oh, like now that's a dream.
Thank you.
Yeah, despondent.
And so then also for me as a facilitator, as these three spoke, there was experiences happening within me. And one of the things that happened for me as Tornus spoke was I began to wonder about the degree to which grief for Colleen's husband is a part of this picture that needs to be named. That in the story, it was, I'm sure Colleen feels it and speaks about it often, but in the story with me, it didn't get named. So the first thing that I would do is to pull the grief out of tornness. So we'll bring in another representative, and I can see Ara Castello. Ara, are you willing to be pulled in as a representative? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll pull Ara in, and Ara, you'll be the grief for us, so that tornness gets to not have both tornness and the grief. So we're giving that to Ara, and now tornness, what happens for you?
Oh, now I only mostly have body tension and pain. It's almost like I was collapsed and you kind of pull me up, but now I can feel the intensity of the body pain, like the forearm and the skull and kind of wobbly,
Okay.
almost like not quite I'm not a pride yet.
So now I have a sense like, okay, now we've got like a direction. We've got this direction of what is the essence of the tornness for our sweet client? And then we would go from here. But I'd like to stop here. Colleen, will you be okay if we stop here? Thank you so much. And so each of these folks did what we're going to be having you do in the next breakout, which is to begin to think about, if you're representing, if somebody's asking you to focus on a particular part of their experience, what happens in your body as you begin to step into the representation? And so I'm really grateful. Thank you, each of you. So wonderful to be with you. I'm so grateful. Will you release your reps? I forgot to have you release your reps.
Thank you all, and please go forward, taking what is yours, leaving what is not. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colleen. All right. So now we'll move farther into this. I just want to acknowledge the beautiful questions that are being asked. And Jeanette noticed the question that you had and the answer that I gave. And then also I noticed that Pam responded to you. And Jaya, did you catch that exchange so that you can just follow up on, okay, just to see if Jeanette would like some personal support. All right.
I don't think I have any personal support available, so I just
No, Pam had offered. I think Jeanette didn't wanting it, but it's in the chat for you to take a look at, and if you could just follow up for me, that would be amazing. Yeah, thank you. So when we know that our bodies are giving us information, our intuition and relationality are more accessible. This is important for us both as facilitators and as representatives. So now we're thinking about ourselves as representatives, and what kind of body things happen for us as representatives. There are a number of ways to think about feeling into our body sensations. And my beloved friend Francesca Mason Boring speaks about being a hollow bone in the desert and letting the field move you, and feeling your own constellation happening to you as you focus on being the rep. So there's two different possibilities. One is this sense of opening the self and letting yourself be moved and touched by the field and speaking about how you're moved and touched. And another possibility, and it really seems to be like what feels right to you. These are both very, very strong and powerful ways to be representatives. The other way is to feel your own constellation happening to you as you focus on being the rep. So it's like I'd say, in the first option, Colleen I would be representing Colleen's life, and so in representing Colleen's life, I could let myself be completely open and empty. I could even visualize a hollow bone in the desert and visualize the sense of Colleen's life coming to be something I represent as part of the flow of universal humanity. And I would then open into it and feel it in that way. Now, the second way, feel your own constellation happening to you as you focus on being the rep. Colleen says, would you be my, Sarah, would you be my life for me? And I would say, oh, yes. And I would be like, me, Sarah, and Sarah's life comes together with Colleen and Colleen's life. And I would implicitly trust what arose from the convergence of those two focal points of attention. So we are both ourselves and what we are committing to and attending to, absolutely. So these are two different ways to begin to think about these kinds of constellation experiences as representatives. Another real interesting thing to know about being a representative is that you don't have to take care of the facilitator. You don't need to be cooperative. You also don't need to give the facilitator suggestions. You commit fully to being in the representation without worrying about what's happening in the rest of the constellation, but allowing yourself to be genuinely moved by what happens in the constellation. And you don't have to think about or worry about the story or about resolution for the client, but you do feel the changes that come as a result of changes in the constellation. And sometimes people say, I don't have any body information, Sarah. I don't have any body information. So you can look for the desire to move, and you can speak about thoughts and stripping away narrative and making the speech as generic as possible. Like you think about, I don't have any body sensations, but do I want to be somewhere? Am I drawn to stand beside someone? And then you can also speak about your thoughts. You'd want to strip away the narrative and make the speech as generic as possible, because story that comes from the outside isn't helpful. Body sensations are helpful. Desires to move are helpful. I want to protect that one rather than I am that one's grandmother and it is my mission to protect her. So now you'll get a chance to imagine that you are a constellation representative. Now, if you've had any kind of experience of difficulty or painfulness in a previous breakout, then don't go into the breakout, because I noticed in the chat that this has happened for some people, and so just let yourself rest and don't worry about this, because this is a learning thing. This is not a personal healing um, uh, opportunity. This is a thing where you're learning about becoming a representative. So now I'll do this with with let's see. Deborah H. Are you willing to be my buddy for this? Deborah Hunsinger, will you be my buddy for a demo? You feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So you think about your issue. And let's see, it says, think about your issue. It looks like that's a typo, Jaya. I did think about your issue, and then it should be think about your issue and tell A about your issue, because I don't have anywhere that we tell A about the issue. So if you could add that for us, that would be great. So could you tell me about your issue? 3 sentences would be great.
Several years ago, there was incident with my grown daughter in which she felt very alienated from me and are you even the same person, kind of strong. You're my mother, but I don't know you anymore.
Wow.
We worked toward finding each other by letters for about over a year. And then I got overwhelmed and said, this is too much for me. I think we're just hurting each other again. And now I'm at the point where I want to write to her again to try to, and when we meet with families. It's all easy. And then I think, did I make this stuff up? I mean, because it just flows easily. And in my body, it feels easy. So it's confusing.
So now I've been attuning to Deborah. So now I wonder if it says, rest my attention on Deborah until the kind of sensations that come with an issue come to your consciousness, which just means like not just radiant joy at Deborah's existence, but what are the deeper kind of body sensations that come? And I am that question. You'll be when we say that you are representing the issue, then I am this question in Deborah. And so as I step more deeply into the issue, it's kind of a funny representation. You could be the client if it feels weird to try to figure out how to be the issue. I could be Deborah in this dilemma. Or I could be the issue, whichever calls you more fully. And I'll try to put that into the instructions. So as I step in, the body sensations are a sense of enormous care that's running from my shoulders all the way into my fingers. And it's like my fingers are longing to express my heart. And my body has the feeling of having a baby, of being like the mom of a baby. And there is a sense of being blind somehow that I can't really see with my eyes. So this is and then it says, name the position you would take in relationship to B as B's issue. So now if we were in a constellation, where would I move? And I would move to stand right behind you and put my arms around you with my hands on your belly. That's the movement. So then, so there we go. There's a representation of Sarah as not as facilitator, but as a representative for Deborah or for Deborah's issue. Deborah, how is it to have me step into representation for you?
want to cry.
Oh,
This is very moving. Thank you.
thank you.
Felt really everything you said touched me.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I'm very grateful to be with you. Needs met for the bewilderment of being a mom. Yeah, yeah. And so in the chat, Irvine says, how would you name that representative? I would name that representative either Deborah or Deborah's issue. And I felt like I was more in this one, Deborah's issue. So, oops, issue. Yeah. And Irving, if this were a longer piece of work, if this were a full constellation, then this one would probably get a name. Might be Deborah as mom. There was a lot of mom stuff in there. So Irving, let me know if that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm just looking at the directions to see if I can make a change that would make it easier.
Sarah, I changed it to now bring your attention to B to represent their issue or to represent them.
Oh, that's so perfect. Thank you. I'm so grateful, Jaya. So now we have that change for you all.
And I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah. And in the breakout, Lisa says, in the breakout, do you want B to share their issue first, like in the demo? Yes, please. I would love that. Think it says, and that's there in the second bullet point now, Lisa. Jaya added it for me. Think about your issue and tell A about it. 3 sentences. So we do have that piece of direction. So hopefully that'll give you clarity and ease. So now, please go in if you feel that you can go in, and if you feel like you're in a learning place, then please go in. If you feel like, oh my God, we've been touching really deep stuff, it's true, we have been touching really deep stuff, and you may need a rest or you may need self-protection. Yeah. Okay, and I think, Jaya, that we need 15 minutes for this, maybe longer, 20. So that each person gets a chance, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
All right, I'm just doing a quick scan for any last minute changes to equal signs. And as I said before, and I'll say it again, if you find yourself alone in a room, go ahead and if you're willing, stay put, and I will make sure to circle around and make sure that you get some support. Or that someone comes in your room. Okay. All right. 20 minutes. Opening up rooms. And we'll see you soon.
Receive a not extensive, about a 15-minute or 20-minute large group constellation, so that people get a sense of what happens and all of the things that you've been learning, how those things come into play as we begin to work deeply with constellation work. So if you would like to be if you'd like to be my demo buddy, a number of people have sent me requests to be the demo person, but I won't be taking those requests directly. Everybody's name will go into the lottery, and Jaya will pull the name out. So looks like folks, Jaya, do you like this if people raise their Zoom hands to go into that lottery, and you put
People can either raise their hands or put it in the chat. Please know this, just a reminder that this is going to be recorded and on YouTube. And please only volunteer if you're comfortable with that, so that this learning can remain available for those who are not able to attend live. So I'm fine with either one. I'm gonna see if my dog will tolerate being on the ground, so I have more.
Thank you very much, Jaya.
And as we wait for the lottery, Sarah, do you want to catch at least the first question that I sent to you.
Open it up and take a look.
And if you have your hand up or you've sent me something, you won't hear back from me, but know that as your hand comes down and know that as I nod my head, that I'm catching people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jaya. And Jaya sent me a question that I missed. What does the line in the attunement exercise, how is it for you that someone is changed by you, mean? What does that line mean? It means, what's it like for you to have the experience of somebody else being moved by you as an existing being, instead of the usual experience of people not being moved by each other, which is where, we kind of insulate ourselves against this human capacity. Yeah. And 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 so if you have more questions about that, you can write to me, probably is best, because Jaya's working on the lottery. And Atlanta says, "What is the lottery? You described it before I came back from the room. The lottery is to be the client in a large group constellation that will be recorded and put on YouTube. So if it's very private, you wouldn't want to put your name in. But if you feel like, oh no, this is fine, I would like to share what I do with other people so that they get to learn and experience secondhand healing. That's what this lottery is." And then if you had a question that did not get answered, you go ahead and put it in the chat, because I wouldn't be able to tell you had a question by you raising your hand, because there's all the people in line for the lottery. So I'd love to have you ask any questions that are outstanding. And Deb says, "I hope there will be one more breakout." I'm not sure that we will have the process. But people are asking about the drawings. Now that I have my mouse again, yeah, maybe I could do some drawings with this one. Yeah, I'll try it. Did you get everybody you needed, Jaya?
Almost, yes. I lowered all the hands that were up and I got everything in the chat. I'm just catching private.
Okay. Right.
So I'm about complete.
Regina says, "I don't understand the lottery. In the lottery, people who want to be the client in a large group constellation give their name to Jaya. She puts it into a little spinner and it spins, and then it lands on somebody randomly. And then that person gets to be the client. That's what the lottery is."
Okay, so just giving another 10 seconds for anyone who was confused and would like to be in. Okay, great, I'll add.
And Regina says, "How do I do it?" You say, "Jaya, please put me in the lottery."
Regina, I'll go ahead and put you in, and if you come out and you don't want to be in, you can let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
Celine.
Yeah, Celine, I have you in. Your hand was up earlier, so I have you in.
Good.
Okay.
And Dariana added her name, and Gwendolyn added her name.
Okay.
And Lebby. And Kiara.
Lebby. It's not great.
Yeah.
And Kiara, you're already in.
Wonderful.
Okay. And I'll add Jordan. Wonderful. And thank you to everyone.
It's going to be recorded, and we will not be taking requests to have the recording taken down. The recording will stand.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. I'll go ahead. If you have put your name in or request to me in any way, shape, or form, even though I've not acknowledged it, I do have you in.
Yeah, and you have Peggy in.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. And anyone who had their hand raised, anyone above who said they wanted to be in. Claire M.
Claire M.
Montague? Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Monto.
Monto. Wonderful.
Hi, Claire.
Hello, Sarah. So nice to be with you.
Oh, what a pleasure. So, Claire, what would you love to walk away with something being a little different with today's work?
I would like to feel a little less stuck, I would say, around my relationship with one of my brothers.
Okay. Is there something you would like to say about how it is stuck now?
So my brother is about 14 years older than me. And when I was younger, very young, we were very close. Like I just adored him, and he was, just like, I had two brothers who were around the same age that I was very, very attached to. And they both, of course, left home and went and had their own life. And at the time, that was very painful. I see now, but I feel like is never, like, he doesn't keep in touch with me. I'll send him messages. He doesn't respond. I mean, if I see him, he's friendly and loving, but he just, and he's like that with my other siblings too. I don't think it's a personal thing, but it's just so painful, and I don't want it to be like this forever. And I just feel very paralyzed about what to do about it. Like, I feel very young about it. I feel like I can't do anything. And
I'm sure you know that there's nothing we can do about him with our constellation work.
Right.
So there's something we can do for you so that you don't have to experience it being torture and so on. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, how old were you when he left home?
He was at sea for 4 months of the year, from when I was maybe 6, something like that. But then he got married when I was about 12, and that's really when when he really distanced himself. Like, when he traveled, he was still very, very loving when he came home and was very involved in the family. But once he got married, he just really separated himself. And when that happened, when I was about 11 or 12.
I'm just sitting here, like, almost imagining myself sitting beside your 12-year-old self and just kind of being with the devastation and the loss. And I wonder about putting her into the constellation just as a starting point to see how she's doing and how you feel about her. Would you choose someone? So, folks, if you're available, please keep your cameras on. If you're not available, please turn your cameras off. And Claire, would you take a look at gallery view and see who pops out to you as a possible person for your 12-year-old Claire?
Amy Lorenzen, would you represent me?
Sure.
My 12-year-old. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. So I'm going to actually do this as a drawing so that people can see the drawing kind of constellations. Since my mouse is working now, that's always a delight. And so, Amy, where will I put you? Where will you be?
I'm drawn to the bottom left corner.
Okay. Are you a person shape or do you have a different shape?
Oh, I'm a person shape, and I feel like I'm looking to the left.
Okay. Is the left this way?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I just draw sort of little bird people because I'm not a drawer. There you are. Are you about the right size?
Yeah, that feels pretty good.
Okay. How are your body sensations?
Well, I have my hands clasped. I feel a little bit of tension, like kind of contracting a little bit.
Thank you. And Claire, how is it to see her?
I feel really sad for her. She looks like she's alone and doesn't feel seen.
What kind of family storms are happening around her besides the departure and marriage of her beloved brother? Is there anything else happening in her world, or is it pretty empty and lonely?
It feels like everyone is doing that. Like other siblings.
Are you the youngest?
I am.
Mm. How much of an age gap is there between you and the next oldest sibling?
11 years.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it seem like you were born for love and community and closeness and family togetherness? Does it feel like that would be the ocean that you would swim in if you got to choose your ocean? Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm drawn to just put into the drawing here the vastness of the sudden experience of emptiness. And I just want to check 12-year-old Claire, how is that for you that I put that in?
That feels accurate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, where did everybody go?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Claire, in real life, how is it to see this?
um yeah, like the words that come are like it was a lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
yeah. And a lot of loss all at once. I wonder if you would choose a rep for yourself now, Claire. And we can close this whiteboard for a little moment and let you choose someone.
Lolly, would you be able to? Even, yeah, thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Lolly. Lolly, without much detail, tell me where to put you and whether you're a person or not and which way you're facing. Oh, and your voice is very muted for me. Can you do something? Hmm. You don't have a pair of earphones or something that's plugged in?
I do.
There. There, that's better. Whatever you just did, Lolly. I started to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Sarah?
Yes.
I can get the earphones.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Very good. Where are you?
I'm just a little bit right of center and halfway between the line and the top of the field.
Okay. Are you a person shape?
I'm a gold star.
Oh, that's a wonder.
I'm a gold star with the blue center.
Ooh. Like this? Is this okay?
It's too big.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can make it smaller. Let me just.
Yeah. 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 I feel like crying now that
Oh,
um
yeah.
telling me that you're drawing exactly what I said and you're making me the size I want to be.
Oh, are you right about here?
Yeah, a little bit more to the right and a little bit more up, and now a teensy bit bigger. Now I'm getting kind of like my wits about. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. How are you doing? What happens with your body sensations?
I feel like my tears are warm and happy now, and they want to keep coming.
How do you notice this little one, this 12-year-old?
Yeah, I'm realizing that just before you said that, I'm realizing that I can't, I'm not quite able to look at her.
Oh, that's so important. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Claire,
I'm feeling a pain in my right hip.
thank you. Claire, how are you doing seeing your grown self here?
It made me smile like the star. It just made me smile so much. And then when she said it's hard for me to look at that, it's just like, oof.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
That feels true.
Oh. Tell me, in generations before this generation, if there were any family members who were exiled or immigrated or shipwrecked or otherwise left terribly alone.
So my mom lost her mom when she was 2.
Oh, oh. And so choose somebody for your little mom. Choose I'll stop the share and you'll choose somebody for your 2-year-old mom.
Gwen, would you be willing to be my mom at 2 years old?
Thank you so much. So grateful. So, Gwen, I'm going to start by drawing you in, and then you'll tell me where to move you.
I'm kind of a dot in the distance on the same axis.
Hold on, I've got 2 Gwens.
There's a Gwendolyn and a Gwen.
Oh, sorry, Gwen. No, it's Gwen, I think.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Gwendolyn. We're so grateful for your presence. And Gwen A, what I'm going to put you in, and then you'll tell me where to move you.
Okay. I'm seeing myself as like a round little snowman type person,
Okay,
like two circles or three circles that are stacked on top of each other. And
there you are. I've put you inside of 12-year-old Gwen.
oh, okay.
Now I'd like you I'd like to move you out if you're willing. You have to tell me where to take you though.
To the center,
Huh? Right here?
a little bit to the left. Yeah, and down a little, down a little, and more to the left, please.
All right.
Okay.
And are you the right size or are you bigger?
I think I'm a little bigger.
Okay.
And I would say it's a blue outline.
Like this?
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Okay.
All right. 12-year-old Claire, how do you do with this tiny mother outside of you?
It feels a little bit confusing, like I don't know what to make of it.
Uh-huh. Grown-up Claire in real life, not the rep for Claire, but real Claire. Claire, what is it like for you to have that little tiny mother taken out?
Yeah, I feel confusion.
Uh-huh.
What are you
Uh-huh.
what are you doing here? Kind of feeling.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, I'll leave the confusion for a little bit and come back to it. Rep for Claire, Lally, what's it like for you? What's happening for you? Oh, you have to come off mute, and I don't know. Yeah.
So much is happening for me. I was just starting to look at 12-year-old Claire when I heard mother was coming in,
Uh-huh.
and I was, it was so confirming to see mother in me as 12-year-old, and I was filled with rage and such relief when she separated. And then when she copied my yellow and blue, it's like, can I have my own life? Like I definitely want to move all the way over to the 12-year-old. I don't want that 2-year-old in between us anymore.
Okay. Oops. Um, and then Claire in real life, what is it like to hear this? What happens for you?
A little bit higher and a little bit above. Yeah. Perfect.
Um,
But smaller. I don't want to scare her.
It feels nice, actually.
Oh, you like her being there. Very good. Just let me find out what's happening for Claire in real life, folks.
I like it much better with my adult, with my child for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling some real like animosity or something against, my mom, my 2-year-old mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to have her there.
Uh-huh. And is that something that's surprising you, or is it characteristic of your experience with living with her?
Yeah. I mean, it was characteristic, if I go back to that time, it was hard to be, in some ways, to be her daughter. Um, she's passed, we had a good relationship for a long time before she passed, but I'm surprised at how like activated I am and how activated my rep was. Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit with this for a moment. And Jaya, would you pull that hand down for me? Thank you. Um, how did your grandmother die?
I don't really know. She had a month-old baby. So I don't know if it was complications from that. She was early 40s, so I also wonder if it was cancer. It's just one of those things we
Oh,
didn't ever
yeah,
know.
no.
But
And what happened with the month-old baby?
my mom was one of six. She was the second from the last, and the younger ones stayed, and the older two girls got shipped off to Ireland. And then my mom's father passed as well about 8 years later or something. So then yeah, they were more dispersed, I think. But she grew up with her two closest siblings, with an aunt.
Was your family long time Irish?
Yeah.
Uh,
She was separated from her sisters, her two older sisters,
uh-huh,
as she was growing up. I've only just realized as I'm saying that. Yeah.
uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. So now I'm going to put in one other rep that might be a little surprising. It's a strange rep, but that's all right. Um, it's a rep for um the ships, the ship that and Gwendolyn. I have you on screen, so I'd love you to be my rep for this. I don't draw particularly well, but it's a ship that carried the Irish. There were in the Great Famine. There was just millions of people who died and millions immigrated. And here's one of the ships that carried people away. And Gwendolyn, do you want to be in a different place now that I've drawn you in?
It feels as though I'm kind of as though I should be big, way bigger.
Okay.
And actually going even a bit bigger, and then go to the left and a little bit down. And yeah, even I think it feels as though the star should also be partially inside.
Okay. We'll stop you and then we'll let folks move if they need to. And Lolly, you have a hand up. Rep for Claire.
Yeah, I can hardly talk now that the ship is there, but what I wanted to say is the anger that I had for the 2-year-old was new and shocking to me. And I'm just aware of such sadness as Claire spoke about, all the suffering, because I never really got to be sad. So when you talked about the ship, I just feel like my sadness is bigger than the water that the ship is in.
Uh-huh. And where do you go? Are you still right here, or do you move in some way?
I'm just below the X, that the brown line you originally made in the ship. Right. Yeah, I'm right there, and I've gotten a little bit smaller now. I don't want to be, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And now I need to check with the 2-year-old. Gwen, are you in the right place or do you need to move?
I'm in the right place.
Okay, very good, very good. And now I need to check with Amy L. with the 12-year-old Claire. Please, what do you notice?
That I feel a little bit kind of like neutral about it, actually. Like I'm not as much involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit concerned about adult Claire, but otherwise I feel pretty neutral.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Claire, in real life, how are you doing?
Yeah, I feel better that that's here. It feels, yeah, like all my attention is on it. All my
Oh,
attention.
okay. So I'm going to bring you in now to become this star, and Lolly will become your advocate and ally, but she'll no longer show up on the screen. So Claire, you get to now move in any way you'd like and to become any shape that you'd like.
I would like to take my 12-year-old away to the upper right of the screen.
Okay. And 12-year-old, is it okay if she does this?
Yes, I feel like I'm with her. I guess that's how I kind of felt. I didn't say that before, but yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Upper right or upper left? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
upper right, yeah.
Okay. Oh, how beautiful. Ah. Ah. What happens for you, 12-year-old Claire?
It made me smile. It feels like a
Ah.
good place. And I feel a little more expansive.
Mm. Wonderful. Ah. Ah. And what happens for you, Claire, when you think, Claire, in real life, when you think of your brother? What happens now when you think of him?
Hmm. Hmm. I feel like reaching out to him. I feel like this. I don't know if I have
Uh-huh.
words for it, but I feel a little more, yeah, just like open to him. And yeah, and I don't know if I said this, but he was in the Merchant Navy, so he was be away a lot. And
Yeah, on ships. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
Mm.
feels a lot softer.
Ah, very good. Is this a good place for today then, Claire?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, the reps.
So if you would don't, and the person who's doing the spotlighting, leave the folks spotlit. If you would please do a release for your people, you can say, I take what is mine, I leave you what is yours.
Yeah. Amy, I take what is mine and leave you what is yours. Gwen, thank you. I take what is mine and leave you what is yours. And Gwendolyn, thank you. I take what is mine and leave you what is yours.
Mm.
Me too.
And the ship, you got the ship and you got Lolly?
Oh, Lolly, I'm sorry, I missed. Lolly, I take, thank you for repping, and I take what is mine and leave you what is yours.
Wonderful. Now, those of us who were in the constellation will speak, if we have words, not everyone may have words, but when we speak together, now we'll speak about our needs met or our gifts received from being in the constellation for Claire. And I'll invite the larger circle to share needs met and gifts received in the chat. And I'll read 4 or 5 of them aloud for Claire to reclaim Claire as a member of our group because she's been singled out and she needs to be brought back into our circle. Yeah. And Lolly, do you have words yet?
Yes, Claire, needs met for understanding,
Mm.
compassion, and a certain release. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Gwen A, do you have words yet?
Needs met for the huge things that happen to tiny little people. Needs met for compassion and care and big emotions that we don't always understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. And Gwendolyn, do you have words yet?
Needs met for contribution, warmth, and connection.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. And Amy, do you have words yet?
It's needs met for feeling like part of the flow of the universe.
Wow. Brings me goosebumps. And for me, needs met for honoring our 12-year-olds and their intense feelings and rages and loves and desires and also for this sense of being born for community. Brings tears to my eyes. Thank you. Now I'll read just 5 random needs from the chat to you, Claire, and then we'll let you read any more on your own. Steve writes, needs met for seeing the older me being the protector for younger me. Catherine G writes, needs met for awe and acknowledgement for my great-great-grandmother Honora Dean, who left on those ships. And Carla writes, need met for acknowledgement of ancestral Irish pain and suffering, gifts received for sharing in that. And Carrie writes, needs met for resonance and glimpses into generational trauma. And Min writes, needs met for meeting my loneliness. And then Claire, is there anything that you would like to say before we let you go?
Oh, I'm just feeling very seen and the parts that I find hard to be with myself, that I had a lot of people with them today. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Claire. And now what we'll do is we'll come out to gallery view. I'll come out to gallery view to take a look at you all. And what I'd like to do is to tell you about what's coming up for Constellations in 2026, because we just got our 2026 program opened. Just really briefly touch on it so that you'll know what the possibilities are if you've become intrigued by what we've been doing here today. And oh dear, I didn't end up with, I've got the wrong one open here. Huh, oh, interesting. Oh, there it is. There it is. Aha. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there.
Hold on, there. You don't have it shared. You have the other one shared.
Oh, okay. Let me do that again. Thank you for helping me. Really grateful. There. How's that?
Beautiful.
Okay. So we have 4 elements to the 2026 Constellation series. The easiest one to come from this into, there are 2 easiest ones to come from this into. One is the opening our unconscious hidden realms, which is a monthly series that happens for just an hour and a half on Monday mornings Pacific time. And and is just, you can come to one or you can come to all of these monthly experiences, and it's all about what's in the unconscious and discovering what's in the unconscious. And there'll be little breakouts. Beyond what we did today, there'll be breakouts where you're in with 4 or 5 people and you're doing little constellations. So that's a wonderful opening and beginning. And then there's a 3-day. If you liked what we did now and you're like, I want more, I want to do this all day long, there's a 3-day in February 13 to 15, to be able to experience emergent constellations in action and do lots of breakouts and get to be in lots of lotteries and have lots of wonderful exploration. Then if you're somebody who's thinking, oh, I'd really love to really move towards facilitating constellations, or I'm already a constellation facilitator, but I'm intrigued by the approach of emergent constellations, then there's the resonant field, which gives a certification. It's a 12-month Friday, once a month, full Fridays, once a month, 5 hours, online certification program where you can be in those classes and also be in practice groups to play with constellations. And then there's a master constellation series for folks who are real experienced and are like, I love this. I just want to roll around in it and soak it into my pores. And that master constellation series is a 3-day series for folks who are who enjoy constellations and are experienced, and that's February, June, September, and November. So those all show up on the website. And Jaya, you have a hand up.
Yeah, I received a wondering from somebody about is there a cap to the number of people and how many people are normally in it? And I can answer some of that if you need.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of people. I mean, there might not be very many, but there could be, there'll be between 20 and 100.
Well, let me just specify a little bit more. I'll answer the question a little bit more, Sarah, and you can add to it. So in the webinars, the webinar series that's linked in, the opening our unconscious to hidden realms, likely you'll be there with 45 to 120 people each month. And you'll do one breakout and you'll see a little tiny mini constellation. If you do something like the Introduction to Emergent Constellations or the Masterclass, usually those are slightly smaller because they're a 3-day commitment. So some people don't have the option to do that. And so usually in those, it'll be between 20 and 30 people. We might get more, but there's lots of little breakout rooms, so you get lots of experience with just with small groups too. Lots of time to ask questions. And then with the resonant field, this past year, I would say with about 60 to 70 people on each call, perhaps.
So I think sometimes 20.
Oh, so maybe smaller. Maybe 20 to 60, we'll say. So if you know that you like smaller groups, doing one of the more intensive things would meet your need. And if you know that you want to just blend into a crowd and be part of a larger group and that settles your body, then doing the webinars would be a really safe place to begin.
That's perfect. Thank you, Jaya. And and Jen, who runs the Zoom tech for the Friday resonant field one, says there's always more than 50 for the resonant field. So we'll see.
And we'll see what 2026 brings. We don't know yet. Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh. So, and now I'm just open for, I can stay. Jaya might not be able to stay. She may just hand the Zoom host over to me, but I can stay for questions. The pricing is on the website. And so just open.
And all of this will be emailed out to you along with the recording too. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by what do I do with these links, you can always write to help@sarahpayton.com and say, I was really curious about the thing that had, that was just a smaller commitment, or I really want to do a 3-day. Can you send me that info too? But it will all be in your email.
Thank you. And Jaya, there's a question for you. It says, Jaya, you mentioned there might be a low-key year-long program where folks meet every 2 weeks or so. Which one would that be?
Oh, the resonant field is once a month.
And then if you add practice groups, then you'd be more like 2 or 3 times a month. Yeah.
And oftentimes people are creating practice groups where you're creating your own sort of group to go into more depth, because it takes time. I'm in a practice group. I know Jen's in a practice group, and lots of people are. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. And now you can even raise your hands if you want to.
There was an anonymous question. Sarah, do you want to touch the question that I received?
Yeah, go ahead and ask. Yeah. Do you want to read it?
I can read it, yeah. And apologies, my dog is having a hard time, so I'm holding her, and I hope it's not hard for anybody. All right. Someone asked, I had an anxious shock run through my body when Sarah talked about at the beginning about everything moving toward the greater good, no matter the cost to us. This sent terror through my body. I'm sure this is not at all what Sarah was referring to when because she seemed relaxed, but I wonder if she could speak a bit more about this concept.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think there are two flows. My sense is that there are two. I'll draw it a little bit. This is not neuroscience, so don't worry too much about this. But this is my sense of the way the field works, is that for example, we go along and there's sort of a sense of the possibility of wholeness, that we are kind of whole beings, but that we are cracked and fractured by trauma, and we can be cracked and fractured by trauma. This was provided by David N. Rubenstein. That we are fractured by trauma, and we can be fractured by trauma in our own lifetimes, and we can carry trauma fractures from previous generations, and that there is a flow of the field that has no regard for human well-being, but just wants everything to be joined, that just wants integration, no matter what. And so things happen, all kinds of interesting and strange things happen that are part of this larger push towards nothing being excluded. And if you start to look at things this way, then kind of political questions of like the resurgence of the right in today's world globally become like more like, oh my goodness, I wonder what is trying to be surfaced by the larger field pushing things together, is one way to think about that. And of course, then I don't think that it's taking very good care of me personally by pushing that particular thing into my face, but that's my own personal objection to fate and to being part of history. So then there's another flow, I think, that's really really lovely to bring in and have a sense of as part of what we're doing with constellation work and with facilitation, is that there's a human flow of love that's flowing from our ancestors to our grandparents to our parents to us. And it's powerful and nourishing and restorative. And it is enormously important. And that it is a part of what helps us to cope with being in a larger field that has no regard for humans and other living things. And then simultaneously, I often feel like I can sense, and this again, it's not neuroscience, this is Sarah's view of the world, a sense of some kind of intense movement towards chaos. There's a movement towards order and a movement towards chaos, and the love that flows is what helps us to deal with both of them. I wonder if this was at all helpful. The person who wrote, if they're still here, can write to Jaya. It makes me laugh, is why I feel like, I mean, there's a gallows humor for me in it. So I'll invite you there if you would like to join me. And the person can let you know, Jaya, if that was helpful.
And there's this question about, are there scholarships available for any of these programs? And I'll answer that just very briefly, that we have limited partial scholarships available, and it's program dependent in terms of what's possible. Oftentimes with the master classes, we wait until we get to a certain fullness, and then there's different like lower bounds as we've been calling them in terms of what's available. So if you know what you're most interested in, you can write to help@sarahpayton.com to inquire, and they'll let you know what the range is and when it might open up.
Yeah, thank you, Jaya.
We do. Sarah does such a beautiful job of trying to make things as accessible as possible while also as sustainable as possible.
Yeah. Thank you, Jaya. And Lynette, you had a hand up for a little moment, and then you put it down.
No, I'm okay. I just I'm so moved by this work.
Oh.
It brings tears to my eyes, and thinking about my ancestors makes it so real to me.
Oh, thank you, Lynette.
Thank you.
And Jaya, you put a hand up.
Yeah, I received an anonymous question from somebody. They're wondering if someone has been experiencing chronic anxiety with multiple factors, including trauma and also nervous system damage due to medication being wrongly prescribed, can this be healed with constellation work? And they share that they did some constellation work 2 years ago. And thankfully her daughter is doing well. But that they've had a really difficult week, and so they're just wondering about their own safety and whether this is
Yeah. Gosh, well, it's possible that it could be enormously nourishing, but you'd want to go really slow and put your toe in and feel it out and see if you find facilitators who really work for you, and just feeling so much tenderness. It kind of makes my whole body wavy, the thought of trying to manage this anxiety and the impact of both trauma and medication. So just want to acknowledge that and bow to it, and say, the work that I do is not strictly speaking therapeutic. It is I'm really interested in the flow of love and how it transforms us. I know a lot of people experience a lot of benefit from it, but I don't claim it to be therapy. So just really wanting to have that clear distinction, since I don't have any kind of therapeutic training. I have studied constellations extensively, but not therapy. So I want to bow to and be really careful with people and their nervous systems. Yeah. Thank you for that question. And hello to Lorena.
Thank you. I have a lot of questions, I think, and I feel a little muddled, but see what. First, I want to give gratitude. I feel you have a very grounded and lovely energy, Sarah, and I appreciate that. And what I got from today was like getting more into the felt sense, and with ourselves, but also in relationship with others. And then I'm really curious and would love to learn more about this process of constellations, of putting people drawing. Like, thank you for having drawn. That was my question. It was very helpful. because I'm interested in learning, can I do this for myself? Or also really beautiful to have people in different roles. And so I'm wondering, so I'm new to this. I've heard of family constellations. I've had little tastes, but I would want to use it for my own healing journey. Um, and yeah, and just also, yeah, just that. And so I'm wondering which of your programs for someone like me would be most helpful. And is this a process then that you learn how to do it and you can do it more on your own, or maybe you make friend groups in the courses and then you support each other with as representatives of, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. To put your toe in, the both opening our unconscious hidden realms, the Monday morning hour and a half is a sort of a sweet thing. To put your toe in more fully, the introduction to Emergent Constellations is lovely. If you're looking to make connections, long-term connections with friend groups, which is a wonderful way to do it, then the resonant field is the way to go. Yeah.
I would also advocate for, if you're wanting long-term connections, for the masterclass series,
Oh, yeah.
because those are they're concentrated 3-day blocks, and so the opportunity for a sense of deepening intimacy and connection and practice becomes more likely. It does, as with any of these programs, it does require a willingness to reach out to find other people who are interested, and that can be difficult for some people. And so I just want to say that we do provide contact forms, but we don't, in these particular courses, we just ask that they organically form. And so there have been groups that have formed by eager people who have said, hey, I'm creating a WhatsApp group and I want to do this. And then it's divided into more groups, etc. So just know that there are other eager folks who are willing to reach, and some of us have prohibitions against reaching. So yes.
Yeah, thank you. I wonder if I could just ask a follow-up, if you can make a distinction between family constellations and emergent constellations. And then I'm also curious about systemic issues and cross-cultural exchanges and how to navigate all of that. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
So cross-cultural was the third question, but the second question was
So is there a systems lens to understand that, we have our own
the
stuff, we have,
difference
yeah,
between emergent and family.
family, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's in the beginning of the slide deck, and we touched on that in the beginning today. That the big difference between family constellations and emergent constellations is the presence of relational neuroscience as a leverage to help us understand how to move to heal trauma with family constellations. So, what makes brains better places to live? So, the big difference is the relational neuroscience between family constellations and emergent constellations. And then that emergent constellations are much more on the emergent end rather than the directive end, from the stance of the facilitator. What is the stance of the facilitator? In terms of cross-cultural, the cross-cultural piece is just as sticky in constellation work as it is everywhere else. So you really want to find both, you want to find folks who have some sense of privilege and implicit bias and the different contributions of culture. And it'll depend entirely on you and who feels good to you, so it's just as sticky as anywhere else. Yeah. Thank you, Lorena. And then Annalise, you had your hand up for a moment and then put it down. You may have had to go. Oh, there you
No,
are.
hi, I'm here. I keep wondering, well, I'm sort of fascinated how I think there's similarity between family of origin and Virginia Satir.
Yes, yes, I
In
had read
emergent
that.
family therapy, I was with a woman that studied with Virginia, and then she started a group here near Toronto.
Mm,
And we did this in acting out and movements and like sitting at the family table. And
yeah.
I just really, really like it. And this is yours is much more in depth, but it's really quite beautiful. And I just
Mm.
appreciate you
Oh,
doing this and working with us so patiently and kindly. Thank you.
oh, thank you,
Thank you for
Anya.
that.
And yes, Virginia Satir was one of the influences on
Mhm.
Bert Hellinger. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you for that. And Helen writes, please tell us more about how much you rely on drawing instead of on watching the speakers. Um, uh, I stay focused. I allow the drawing to be another focal point that represents the constellation. So much of what we're thinking about and looking at in terms of emergent constellations is where is our attention going and how is that impacting our right hemisphere and our felt sense in the body. And so I'm paying attention to the speakers, but I'm focused very intensely on the drawing as a representative of the constellation and where the movement is happening and where the lines of tension feel like they exist in the drawing and what's missing from the drawing. So it's about, like, if I were going to do percentages, it's about 70% of my attention is on the drawing and 30% of my attention is on the pictures of the reps and their voices.
Thank you very much. I'm the learning for me today. I've had two wonderful in present well, no, I had two wonderful constellation teachers. One of them here where I live who retired, the other one on video, but she is no longer available. And so this is new learning for me to let go of the warmth and comfort of so much human moment to moment, tiny details, don't want to miss a wink. And so for me to let go of that, to go to the drawings as a
Yeah.
participant, would I be learning to go to the drawings more and the people less? Or I doubt it. But that's that transition or that newness that I'm
Yeah,
asking about.
what a cool thing to be thinking about. I think what you'd learn doing the drawings and working online with people speaking about their body sensations is how much the each of the three, the live people and their warmth, the online people and their warmth, and the drawing with its movement for immense creativity and change and transformation. Um, each of the three are metaphors for the same healing process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And some people just love being in person too much and they're just like, nope, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do this online stuff. And some people are like, well, thank God I don't have to fly to Portland, Oregon and increase my carbon footprint and I get to be with Sarah online. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. So sweet to be with you all. And yes, there will be a replay for today. We'll send out a link to the recording and an email about the possibilities for constellation participation in 2026. Wonderful to be with you. There's going to be another free constellations intro in January as well. If you same material, but if you enjoyed some of this and you want to come back or tell somebody that you love about it, then you'll see that coming out too in the emails. All right. We loved being with you, Jaya. So grateful. Thank you for being my buddy in this. And thank you to Jen. And thank you to all of the assistants who came. Thank you. Thank you. If you'd like to come off mute and say goodbye to us, we'd love to hear your voices.